Alright, we're gonna make a basic rocket, or even if you're smart enough, make a basic grenade. So first things first, let's look and analyze an old system I made a while back. This is for my chapter master. He has a cyclone on top, but I rarely use it because it's heavy hitting. Now, for this, go into here, the first layer. This is where I parent constrain it to my head, because wherever my character would look is where it will fire. On the downside of having it a gravity modifier. Second layer is the missiles themselves. This is emission based, so I turn on and off emission. This is not a turn off your system. This is a turn off emission. So here, if we look at it, shoots 4 every 2 seconds. And as you can see down here, count 1 cycles 4, interval 0.2, and then duration 2 seconds before the next. Now that we're done analyzing this, let's repeat it. Alright, we're done with this thing. Let us grab our bolt gun prefab. We find this in our guide, which I'll link below as per usual. Unpack it, because you can't change it unless you unpack it. Alright, let's delete all that, because we're going to focus on the gunshots. Right now we have a bullet prefab, as stated. This is a bolter prefab. So what we're going to do is, remember last video, go over here, zero it. Go over here, count 1. We only want 1 to come out. 4 cycles. Interval of 0.2, like in the other one. Probability is 1. As you can see, now we can see it coming out. Let us change duration to 2. So every 2 seconds, it repeats this. Preferably, if you're giving this to your tank, bump it up a little bit. This is an old system. I wasn't thinking straight. So this will probably be nicer. Or maybe 4. Just to make it fair, because every 4 seconds it goes off. This seems a little more fair, or maybe if you want to bump it a little lower, depends how high of a class this thing is. This should be fine. Now let's move on. So this is our basic. As you know, with guns, on hit it produces these animations up there. For now, I'm going to keep them. I'll change it in the end since that's flavor. We don't care about flavors. Right now, we want to know how to do gunshots or how to do rockets. Alright. So on hit, it will produce this. The damage orb. Now let's go over here to collisions. Let's show the visual bounds, right? See how big these things are. That's how big they are, right? Now, for explosions, you want these things to be a little bigger. Don't change anything in here. But you just want it to be bigger because this is an explosion now. Let's go over to scale. Let's bump it up maybe 4, I guess. I don't know. It depends on what it is. So now your thing is looking like that. And with a higher delay per each shot, I would say it's okay to bump it up a little more. But even at this size, with 4 of them coming out, it might be a little too much. Maybe bump it down to 3. Most rockets are single fire. So let's say you just want one single one doing this. So 1 count, 1 cycle. It's max particle at like 100. Yeah, not even. Max particle is the amount of particles that can be present in a system. So if this shot right here, like this doesn't exist here. This wall's gone. If this shot, this will keep going. And if it goes over 100 of these in a single area without it decaying, or without the lifetime going away, then it won't shoot. Or the other particle will just disappear and another one will come out. That's the importance of it. That's why it's not wise to put 1, because if we put it at 1, Unity and VRChat's going to freak out and it won't spawn them at all. So don't put your max particle to 1. 50 is nice. In this case, I'll put it at 100 because, again, it doesn't matter. It's just at most this many is going to appear. But if we look at particles right here, only at most 2 is appearing. But again, never send to 1 because it freaks out. At most, send it to 5. Anyway, let's go back to, instead of 1 per cycle, let's go back to the 4 because 4 is funny. Let's see. Go back to the wall. Alright, so now you have a basic quote-unquote rocket system, or pulse system. But with these larger explosions, it's essentially a pulse system, or a rocket system. Now, let's add some flavor to it. Well, because this is a rocket, I'm pretty sure it's not going to go in a straight line too long. If you want your rocket a little more powerful, you can excuse yourself by handicapping yourself. So let's put some gravity on here. I like gravity. See, doing that, goes down a little. Okay, let's go higher. The more we add onto it, the lower it's going to curve. So, like, that looks nice. Maybe we'll bump it 3. See, that's fun. That's nice. It actually makes it so the player has to aim a little bit instead of just going somewhere, aiming straight, and it'll hit them. Give them a handicap. Make it realistic. Alright, let's say, well, I don't want it to look like a bullet. That's lame. Oh, I got you, friend. Let's make our render mode a mesh. Instead of a cube, if you downloaded a Crypto FX, it should give you the following rocket. This thing. Rocket. Now, I'm going to try to remember what I did with this. Let's see. It's really tiny. I can't see it. We're going to do velocity, I believe. I think. But right now, it's extremely tiny. We can't see this thing. So I will show you how we can fix this. Go over, size 1. Now we can see it. You can see it's right there, but we have the wrong render on it. Rocket, which we should have. Yep, right here. Rocket. There you go. Now we have a rocket. Now, let's check our colliders. We don't want this thing to be too big. That's fine, I would believe. If it's too much, something called radius scale. We can tone it down a little bit. Like maybe that size is a little better and more fair. Like right there. Surrounds all the sides and etc. So if you increase the size for something like this, like the shape of the bullet of a mesh, make sure you look at the visual bounds inside of collisions and bump up or down the radius accordingly. It makes it fair. We are playing a fair game. We all want to have fun in the end. And if you want a better explosion, you might have a prefab in here. Explosion. That can help you out. Let's say... Oh, no, we'll find something really fast. It's energy. Okay, explosion. See, you want something like that, okay? So the good way to grab this, although there is a lot here. Just unpack it. And drag and drop in here. Now, I won't do all of these. This is going to be crazy. What I will do instead is just do 2 of them, since there's only 2 in here. Besides the damage orb that is put in subemission. Let's talk about subemission. Subemission is what's going to occur depending on what you set it. On collision, according to subemission, there will damage orb will appear. If it's on death, damage orb will appear instead. Collision and death are essentially nearly the same thing, but if a damage or if the particle dies because of lifetime, like it doesn't hit anything but dies because of lifetime, it will still go off. If it dies and it's on collision, nothing will happen. If it's dying from lifetime. Lifetime is how long it will last. According to this, our bullet's going to last 5 seconds or 5. Anyway, moving on. Let's drag and drop. Let's say on collision, shockwaves. Shockwaves sounds pretty good. Let's do that. Shockwaves. Flash. We'll do another one. These back to collision. Smoke. Heck with it. Let's just do everything. Pieces. Smoke lines. Now, as you can see, now when it hits it on collision, it's not only producing the damage orb or the explosion, It is also producing the explosion particles that we dragged into here. Be wary. Don't abuse this. Make sure if you're making, let's say, a new system, you watch out. As you can see, the new system is doing this. Be wary when making new systems, making your own particles. You don't want to have collisions. Like in this case, I don't want any of these to have collisions. Let me delete this. Want to check here. Do we have collision here? I double clicked it, so let's check. Collisions? No, this is safe. These are for show. They're not to be hurting people. Unless special cases, but this is not a special case. We're not doing it. Alright, got any questions? Comment below.